Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Leonid and here I talk about equipment for photo and video shooting. I talk about how to shoot and edit videos. If this video is helpful to you, please like and subscribe to the channel. Well, I'll start by talking about my experience owning the Sony a7III and what I think of it in 2023. When this camera first came out, I took it for a test for a couple of days, did a review and then immediately bought it. It served me faithfully after the Sony a7III. It has excellent autofocus, takes good photos and has long-lasting batteries. But it has been 5 years since the release of this camera and beginners may wonder if it is worth buying it now. Well, I can't make the choice for you. I can only share my thoughts and answer any question you may have about this camera. So don't take everything I say too close to heart, and if you are a coach critic and are itching to write something nasty about how I convey information and the quality of the information, then it's better to dislike, unsubscribe from me if you were subscribed, and forget about this video like a bad dream. So now that friendship has triumphed here, I'll describe what I consider the advantages of this camera in 2023. Shooting in 4K. I've been shooting everything in 4K for many years now. Of course, I don't always upload it to YouTube in this quality, but the video taken in 4K looks much better compressed in Full HD. Cool autofocus, which when used correctly can be relied upon in almost all types of shooting. I use autofocus in 90% of cases. Sometimes it doesn't work as intended, but with certain skills you can still capture the objects correctly and everything will be fine. Takes excellent photos. The resolution of this camera is sufficient for most photography tasks. Of course, there are haters of this camera who claim that the colors are not as divine as Canon or Nikon, but if you ignore these fanaticisms, the camera is quite good for photos. Price. Now you can buy this camera for quite reasonable money, and on the secondary market it was even a better deal. The main thing is not to get a camera with a dead shutter. Also, I haven't heard any horror stories about the camera failing, those were isolated cases. And it was a factory defect that was covered by the warranty. It holds battery charge well. I remember those times when I used to shoot on a a7III and I had a whole bunch of those little batteries. And when these new big Z-series batteries came out, it made my life much easier. For a full day of shooting a wedding in 4K, I only needed 2.5 batteries, but I don't really do a lot of continuous shooting, so someone else might have a different battery life experience. Now I tell you about the downsides. No 4K 60 FPS. When I bought this camera, the Panasonic GH5 was popular and everyone was bragging that it could shoot with such a high resolution and frame rate. By the way, here's a link where I talk about the Panasonic GH5. Watch this video later. Of course, when you can shoot at such high resolution, it gives you a little more freedom and options. But for most tasks, 25 FPS is perfectly adequate. Non-rotating and dual screen. I used to beat my chest and argue that Sony's screen was fine, but now I've stopped explaining anything to anyone. I haven't seen a camera yet that has a good screen that will give you a decent picture in bright sunlight. In normal lighting conditions, it's perfectly fine to use and see what you are shooting. After I got cameras with a rotating screen, I admired the Sony a7III screen's flipping system isn't perfect, but the rotation system is also a pain. How can you normally use the screen when, for example, you have an HDMI cable or headphones connection? So far, I've only seen a good solution on the Panasonic GH6, where it's both rotation and tilting. I want to get this camera for myself. I think it will last as long as GH5. No ability to shoot an S-Log3 color profiles, or rather it does exist, but the camera is only 8-bit. And as a professional colorist say, shooting in S-Log3 on such camera is just a marketing ploy. I always shoot on this camera in the PP8 Sign 4 profile and I like working with it. I was quite satisfied with the image that could be obtained. Imperfect sensor stabilization. It's not easy to shoot handheld. Also, I have seen people shoot quite stable footage on it. Personally, I have chosen to work with a stabilizer or tripod. And that's probably all the downsides for me with this camera. What can I say about it in conclusion? If you are shooting video and wondering whether to buy it or not, my answer is no. It's already a bit outdated for that. Or rather, the results it produces is not suitable for today's standards. Of course, everyone has different shooting tasks and some people are perfectly satisfied with the Canon 70D, but the Sony a7 III is no longer suitable for video. I worked with this camera in combination with the Zhiyun crane, and I really like this setup. Of course, shooting weddings with such equipment requires good physical preparation. After shooting 3 weddings in a row, I realized it was time to go to the gym. For photographers, this camera will be suitable in 2023. If you like Sony and want to start taking photos or upgrade from, for example, the crop Sony cameras 6300 or 6500. But of course, it is important not to forget that for good results is not so much about the camera, it is about the skills in using it. That's why even in 2023 you can still take great photos with a Sony a7 III. Write in the comments below what you think about this camera. Give me a like if you really like this video, and if you didn't, give me a dislike and don't subscribe. My name is Leonid and I wish you everyone well. See you soon.